Hey, Shannon! We're finally in the same room together! It's a good thing since we're finally starting season 4.
Yep, you're right about that.
This is the Reading Teachers Lounge, where listeners can eavesdrop on professional conversations between elementary reading teachers. We're passionate about literacy and strive to find strategies to reach all learners. Shannon and Mary are neighbors who realized that they were literacy soul sisters at a dinner in their Atlanta neighborhood. Once they started chatting about reading, they haven't really stopped. Come join the conversation.
This episode of the Reading Teachers Lounge is sponsored by our new Patreon. Patreon is a platform where you can join the Reading Teachers Lounge professional learning community and study and work with us. Everyone who joins will receive behind-the-scenes info into the podcast and an episode directory with photos, graphics, and resource links for all the seasons. There are 5 levels of collaboration and support to choose from, with various benefits that include a private Facebook group, bonus episodes each month, a quarterly data review and unit planning Zoom calls, bi-weekly lesson planning sessions where we can provide group support for your instruction, Reading Teachers Lounge branded merchandise like a coffee mug or tote bag, and the highest level of support includes book studies with us and private calls for one-on-one support. You can find more information by visiting www.patreon.com/readingteacherslounge. That's patreon.com/readingteacherslounge. You can also check out the link in our show notes. Everyone who joins in September will enjoy founding member status, and you'll receive a printed copy of our special episode directory in the mail. Again, visit www.patreon.com/readingteacherslounge. We really hope you'll join us and learn alongside with us. Welcome to Season 4 of the Reading Teachers Lounge. I'm Shannon Betts. I've been teaching since 2002, either as a reading teacher or as a reading specialist. Currently, I'm working part-time at a private school, working as a resource teacher. My specialty is locating the missing pieces in students' reading development and choosing just right activities to fill those gaps. You can find me online at readingdevelopment.com and on Twitter and Instagram at rdngdevelopment.
And hey, I'm Mary Sagaffi. I am a reading tutor and a dyslexia advocate. Mixing up my words right in there. Dislocated. My name is Mary Sagaffi, and I am a dyslexia advocate and a reading tutor. And I have taught in the classroom for more than 10 years, and now my classroom is inside my home. And for me, it's really important to find humor and joy and help kids really develop a love of reading and a love of learning, and also understanding how unique their brain is as they learn. So welcome to the Reading Teachers Lounge, where you get to eavesdrop on Shannon and I, who love to talk anything about reading.
And we've been doing it now for 4 years.
Which is just wild, but our podcast is growing, our content is growing, and we're so happy to be continuing on this journey with everyone.
Thank you for people who've been with us since season 1, and then thank you to all of you who have joined us in the past year, and even over the summer, and are here now.
It's been going great. So Shannon, stranger, how's your summer? Let's talk.
Yeah, Mary and I live down the street from each other. We barely saw each other this summer, probably because we were both traveling at different times.
Isolating.
Yes.
Making sure that our families were safe and sound and taken care of.
That too. I see your house every day when I walk by with the dog. But
I know, and if I see you out there, I'm always giving a wave or something, rounding up the girls in the neighborhood who play with my girls all the time. Thank goodness for that.
Mary has a house of girls, and then I have a house of boys.
And we happen to live on a street that has many girls.
Yes. Which I guess my sons will love one day.
Someday.
When they grow up.
Someday. Right now, they're just chasing.
Yeah. So my summer was good. We traveled. I finally went back home. Like, I hadn't gone home since the pandemic, and so I got to go home to Louisiana and see my friends and family there. So that was really special. We went to a friend's lake house and then another friend's mountain house. So that was nice to have some outdoor time.
Awesome.
The mountain house was especially nice because
it was like 60 degrees on the top of the mountain. So while everybody was hot in Atlanta, we were nice and cool.
It was a hot summer here.
Yes. And then I rested a lot. Like, we all felt the burnout of teaching the pandemic, and I spoke about that in season 3 finale, but the pandemic teaching burned me out, and then I overdid it with my brain injury and my post-concussion symptoms, and so I really just needed a lot of time to rest and recharge. I slept sometimes 12, 13 hours a night, and then took a nap in the middle of the day as well for most of June and early July.
That's so great that you recognize that your body needs that, and you're giving your body what it needs.
I mean, it just kept sleeping. So, yeah, I kind of threw away the alarm clock for months. It was really nice.
That's kind of the beauty of a summer break. So
yes,
just enjoy that.
I did teach summer school a little bit. I didn't even want to use the alarm clock, so I said, I'm available if you let me come in midday and do it part-time for summer school. So I was like the technology lab.
That's
for summer school
Good.
For 2 weeks. And so that was actually cool because I was able to get the students on tech programs, and it was pretty low stress.
Aw.
Yeah.
That's great.
So what about you?
Yeah, we also were able to travel, and same that the burnout from the pandemic has been just harsh, I think is the word that I can describe it. I think I've mentioned previously that my husband is a frontline worker, and the medical field has just really been hit hard emotionally and physically and all of the things, and so it's taken a toll a bit on our family. So I also needed to take a little step back and recharge and rest and create a nice stable field for my family to continue to grow and thrive. And I feel really blessed that I was able to kind of take advantage of that time. And we actually were able to get away for 3 weeks, which is next level unheard of.
Wow.
I've definitely never been able to get away more than like 4 days.
Did you go back home?
We went to my husband's home and visited his family in Pittsburgh, and we also got to visit my family in Cleveland. And the best part was we had no plans. We showed up, we enjoyed family time. If we decided that we wanted to go out for some socially distanced fun and entertainment, we did. And if we wanted to just sit on the back deck and enjoy some time with our family, we did. It was really rejuvenating.
That sounds lovely.
It was exactly what we needed. And that time with family who, since both grandparents live out of town, it's really special for my girls to enjoy that. So I feel very, very, very fortunate to have done that. And I think it's come at a good time. 'Cause things are ramping back up just a bit here again. And
as the school year starts.
Right. So, virtual learning happened last year too. And so I was teaching and juggling and trying to make it all work. And as I'm sure many of you know who are working moms and working parents and people who are juggling many situations at once, can't keep all the balls in the air all the time. And so it's important to know when a break is necessary and where you can step away and when you can step back in. And I just feel really grateful that I've been able to do that. So thank you for your gentle kindness and your, like all upset now. Ooh, excuse me.
Well, I think we can all agree that supervising virtual learning of your own child is like the worst teaching gig of all time.
Parents are not meant to be the caregiver, the one who wipes bottoms, the one who is the disciplinarian, and then also the writing teacher.
I think the first day that it happened, like my youngest child, son, yelled at me like, "You're the worst teacher I've ever had," and I was just in my head yelling, "You're the worst student I've ever had." I held my tongue, but that's what I wanted to say.
It is next level, and I learned so much about myself as a teacher and about a new level of patience and how to kind of compartmentalize things. And I am grateful that we're in person now, but of course, the stress is real, and sending kids back is also a bit on the terrifying side too. But putting trust in other adults and making sure that everyone is doing what they can is also like kind of the beauty of what school is all about. And kids, I do believe, should learn from other adults, and they can really thrive when they learn from other adults.
And that socialization and learning with the group, it's
key. Especially
they're
in
just
early
not
grades.
really. I mean, hopefully this will prove that you can't really digitize like teaching and just get rid of teachers forever in the whole schooling model. Like, we've learned that it's really necessary as humans.
I can take a step back and also say we had one of the very best online teachers. She was super engaged. She was always on it. Her discipline was spot on. But there really is such a difficult position to be in, to be a kindergarten teacher and find that engaging moment with kids when you're on a screen with them. So
it's just not the same. It's just not the same.
So now we're in, a year that it looks very different from other school years.
Mm-hmm.
And, the 2021 school year is really wonderful in some ways. It's really different in many ways. And I don't know, I've never had such an emotional beginning of the year as I did this year. Even thinking about like starting with some new tutoring kids and starting with new advocacy programs, the world has just kind of turned inside out a bit. And so now we're trying to find our new place in that.
That's true. It is sort of a surreal start.
Yeah. So I have big feelings. We often use that phrase in my house, big feelings. And I do. So I'm happy to admit that, and I'm happy to also be honest about the fact that it's not always easy to navigate this. And I think there are some really brilliant people who have navigated this very well and have some really brilliant ideas. And I'm trying to just stay on that positive side of things, because I think it's really easy to, just bury your head and just get burnt out really quickly. So I totally encourage you to find the people who are doing well. And
yes, we're going to hopefully have some of them
on
this season.
Right?
Which we'll talk about in a minute.
Yeah.
So this school year, I have made some changes. I just had to come to the difficult decision that I really couldn't work full-time anymore, because I was pushing against the threshold of my symptoms by like about 1 p.m. every work day the previous year. And so like my brain has sort of stalled in its progress and recovery because I kept pushing at my limits. So then my limits couldn't grow. Does that make sense? Like, to recover from a brain injury, you really have to stay below your capacity to grow your capacity.
Well, your brain is regrowing lots of brain connections.
Exactly. And so I was just exhausting it every day. And so that would be like sprinting every day to train for a marathon. It's not really the way to do it.
Sure. I realized that we didn't let any new listeners know that in the very beginning of season 2, Shannon was in a car accident, and it resulted in some traumatic brain injury.
Today's the 2-year anniversary of the wreck, actually.
Well, bless your heart.
Yeah, it's been a weird day.
Wow.
I had to drive past the work spot twice today to bring my kids to soccer. It was kind of weird. I was like, oh, this one little spot on earth has changed my whole life forever.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. So anyway, so season 2, you could definitely hear like kind of my ups and downs.
Yeah.
When I didn't know I had a brain injury and was still recording, and then as I was figuring it out, and then in treatment, changing job, all these things. And then also, that's one of the reasons that season 2 and also season 3 have not had as many episodes as our first season did, but
and the pandemic.
Yes, and the pandemic, just all of that wrapped together. So, but because of that, I've decided to take a step back from work, and I'm only working part-time this year, and so that I can devote more time to my recovery and then also to the podcast. So I'm actually really excited about that. This month, the first month of school, I've actually just been going in 2 days a week and then having 3 days at home, which has been So lovely.
And you're just working as a resource teacher.
And I'm working just as a resource teacher, which is my jam, because that's the reading.
Right.
I even didn't ask for the math groups. I was like, we'll use, other staff for that. So I'm working just as a reading teacher. And once we're done with all the assessments and everything, next month I'll be doing 3 days a week.
Great.
So, and I'm excited about all the programs we're using and the students I'm going to be working with. I'm going to have second grader, third grader, fourth grader, a couple fourth graders, a couple fifth graders, one sixth grader, and maybe a few seventh graders in different groups. And I was able to use some federal program money to purchase Haggerty.
Yay! Haggerty
School-wide.
Fantastic.
Yes. And so I put that in the hands of our teachers in pre-planning, and then they've been coming into my office in my little class. Actually, I don't have an office this year. I have a classroom again, which it just felt fun to decorate a classroom again. And they keep coming in the last few weeks like, I love that phonemic awareness program. I love it. The students love it. We're doing it every day. And I'm like, yes. And so for myself, I purchased Bridging the Gap, which is like the, for older students who still need phonemic awareness, which I've been talking about that since the first episode.
I was going to say, and so you were, in the very beginning, we talked about how you were just doing it on your own.
Yes.
And how things have changed, and you have found just like the most dynamic program that will just make things so much easier.
Well, I want to lean on the structure of the program, and I really want to try it with fidelity. And then, as you know, I'm a very reflective teacher. I'm a very, I've paid close observation to what the students master and what they're still struggling with. And if I have to supplement with some of the activities that I've proven in my experience that help, like some of the, FCRR activities or some of the blending and segmenting activities and methods that I've found that work in the past, I'll definitely do some of those too.
Here's my nugget. If the kids are struggling with it, add the manipulatives.
Yes.
Because that's the thing. Sometimes you need to be able to have that hands-on experience and chunk that information in a different way, visually or hands-on, and that can really make a huge difference. So keep it multisensory, people.
We've said that once or twice. So then we also, we've purchased Fountains and Pinal Level Literacy Initiative books to use for guided reading. And some of the books have a more predictable text structure, so I don't use those as much, but I don't follow the phonics scope and sequence that they recommend. I follow my own and do my own methods because they have more some of the 3-cueing system and the guessing and things like that. But they're very high quality text, so they're not all bad. And so we use them, I use them as more like decodable books. And so if we've gotten to a word that we don't know, we might do orthographic mapping with that word, or I might just provide it with the student if it's, not something we're going to get to yet, instead of using a guessing strategy. But if we do get to words that follow the long vowel pattern or something that I have introduced, then I will, use decoding strategies with that book. So
I used to do that all the time too, where, you highlight what the new pattern is that may not be recognized. You say, we're going to learn this soon. And you move forward.
Exactly.
And I think that, we can't get so bogged down now. If every other word in your text, you're doing that, I'm not advocating for that. But if there is maybe 1 to 2 words throughout the entire book that you're needing to do that with, the kids kind of anticipate that. Sometimes it sticks with them and they're excited to learn a new pattern down the road. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
And so the last thing I'm going to use, 2 things more I'm going to use. I had purchased it a couple years ago when I first got to the private school, but I've only just sort of delved into it. So this year I'm really excited to use it, especially with one of my third graders, is HD Word from Really Great Reading. And so it's like a pretty quick way to teach the sounds and syllable patterns. And they have multisensory strategies too. So I'm very excited to use those, and I'll be talking about that through the season. And then I'll be supplementing with the other things I do. And then we also got Jennifer Cereballo's comprehension kits. So she has, I love those reading and writing strategy books. And those are more for students like at level J and higher who can read, who can decode
They're ready.
They're
for
really
the full
they're ready for real like
strategies.
deep fluency and vocabulary and comprehension work. And so she has a comprehension kit for fiction and for nonfiction for students at that level. And so just this week I was assessing the 6th grader with that kit, and it's a really cool assessment that she has with high quality literature that you use and rubric, and then there's a proposed strategies that you work with the student based on how they do on that assessment. So I'm really excited to delve into that too.
Great.
And then we gave the Words Their Way spelling inventory, because I always do that just to have as part of my data. And then we're giving the map assessment.
Yep. Map is, I feel like as
our school district added map. Our children's school. Did you know that?
Oh, yes, I did. Well, and that's what I was just going to say. The teachers in our children's school are actually really excited about using Map now, because they said we happen to have curriculum night tonight, and so our teacher was talking about it, and she said it's just such a great way to get a really great snapshot of what the kids are able to do right in this moment. I said, totally get it. You totally understand MAP. That is what MAP is all about. It gives us a great snapshot. It tells us where kids need to be able to find growth throughout the year, right?
Yeah, and I love that it's individual. So for
it levels.
Yeah,
and it's not the teacher giving the test. The computer is reading it to them. That's really important.
Well, I was very proud. My older son said, "Mom, I didn't finish in the testing period," and I was like, "Great!" He was like, "You're happy about that?" I was like, "No, that means you really took your time, and you had a special test that was different than other people's." He's like, "Really? It's different?" I was like, "Yeah, it's unique to you." And he was like, "Oh, that's kind of cool." So my middle school child even thought that was kind of cool.
Yay! Oh, great. Well, good.
Hey teachers, I wanted to take a time out to tell you about something that I've used and loved over the last year. They're called Daily Harvest. Like me, you might have seen their ads on Instagram. That's how I discovered them. I chose them last year because I needed quick and nourishing foods with my busy teacher schedule, and also healing from my brain injury, to make sure that I got good, nourishing food quickly. I've been ordering once a month now for over the last year, and I just love their smoothies, oat bowls, and flatbreads. They also have treats like bites. I get the ones that taste like chocolate chip cookie dough. They have ice cream scoops. I love the salted caramel. And then there's a special chaga and chocolate latte that's hot chocolate with reishi and chaga mushrooms that really helps me calm down in the afternoon. I will prepare the smoothies and oat bowls to take with me to school in the mornings, and then I will bring the soups and harvest bowls that they offer to school with me and heat them up in my Hot Logic mini oven in my room, and so that they are hot and ready for me by lunchtime. I love that they add vegetables in everything that they serve. Even things like smoothies that you think would only have fruit have vegetables in them, and so does the ice cream. My favorites are the carrot and cinnamon smoothie, which tastes like carrot cake, the squash and chai oat bowl, which tastes like pumpkin spice bread, pear and arugula flatbread, and the lentil and tomato harvest bowl. Those are always in every order that I get from them. Check them out at the referral link in our show notes to get $35 off your first box. Or if you want to DM us at Instagram, Facebook, or email us at readingteacherslounge@gmail.com, we'd be happy to send you the savings code link. I love that they have an easy-to-use app where you can change your selections or pause shipments. I'm never caught by surprise when an order is coming because of that. They email you regularly as well. I also love that their packaging, most of it is recyclable or compostable, so I'm not wasting a lot of materials. Try Daily Harvest. I promise your body will thank you.
So what have you been reading and learning about
this summer,
when you're not taking care of your kids and traveling and all that?
I set some goals this summer. So I actually have been reading some books that are in particular great for parents who are just delving into the world of dyslexia. So I can actually recommend these books. This one is great. It's Richard Selznick, and it's What to Do About Dyslexia, 25 Essential Points for Parents. It is a super quick read, around 100 pages. Everything is really well labeled and laid out. It gives some scenarios, but then it really talks about what are the strengths of a kid with dyslexia? What should you be expecting from the school? What does it actually mean if you have dyslexia? Will you ever, what do the assessment scores mean? It's really great, concise, and well laid out.
Awesome.
Another one, Kelly Sandman Hurley is one of the directors at the Dyslexia Institute for, see if I wrote that down, Dyslexia Reading Institute, sorry. And she is one of the people who helped me with my dyslexia advocacy program. I really, really enjoy
That's where
her
I've
work.
heard her name before.
Yes. Yep. And so this book is called Dyslexia and Spelling, Making Sense of It All. And it's a rather new book that she just put out. But if you are a teacher who's just starting out or a parent who is just starting out and you really want to answer the question, why is spelling so hard, especially for kids with dyslexia, this is the book for you. It's got great little tidbits about how kids with dyslexia, how their brain works, what activities you can do to help them, some examples of how you can teach children to read. It's fantastic. So,
Okay, I want to get that one because one of the 5th graders I'm going to work with has a diagnosis of dyslexia, but I was just looking at his star reading score. He scored above grade level in the star reading test, but his spelling is really where he struggles.
yes. Here you are.
Okay. I'll buy my own copy, but
That's the best part of being in the same room with you today. That's so great.
thank you.
And another one on a different path is actually some more personal reading. It's called Suddenly Diverse, How School Districts Manage Race and Inequality. Our own school district, which is Atlanta Public Schools, is working on some rezoning in our area, and it's really interesting how the dynamics kind of play out
Interesting's one word for it.
in our neighborhood. Nice White Parents podcast comes to mind. But basically, I am just doing a lot of research and trying to see how I can have a broad mind about what this means for our neighborhood and what the different perspectives are. And also, how can I be proactive and helpful to the teachers in our community? And I think one of the most essential pieces is really having strong leadership and making sure that the leadership at the school really has a clear vision and that all of the teachers feel really well supported. So anyway, I highly recommend that one too. Suddenly Diverse, How School Districts Manage Race and Inequality by Erica O. Turner.
That sounds interesting too.
Yeah.
I'll read that one after I finish the other one.
I'm so excited about these two. Recently, I've just completed these courses just in this month. And I was doing the Building Readers for Life 2021 workshop, which is Emily Gibbons runs that one. And she,
We love Emily Gibbons.
we love Emily Gibbons so much. And I also love Seth Perler, and he also just did a TIFOS.
Executive functioning, right?
Yeah, TIFOS is TEFOS, and it's the Executive Functioning Online Summit. He just did a free seminar, and he does it every year. So this is his second one, and it was 3 days. It was so fantastic. He had amazing speakers who are so caring and so loving, talking about neurodiverse kids who just need a little bit of love, acceptance, encouragement, and organization. And
I wish you had told me that was going on.
you know,
Now
it's
we
funny.
need that
I feel
summit.
like I told about 12 people, and I think I posted it to the elementary school too to let parents know, hey, all kids need this, especially their parents, because really so much of the work that we do with children is helping them to, get it all done.
Yes.
And that's what executive functioning is, getting it done.
No, I struggle with executive functioning since my brain injury, and I never did before. So honestly, I really didn't even have as much empathy as I should have had as a teacher before, experiencing it myself. But it's been a journey. This summer, I got an app called Tiimo, TIIMO, and it was created for neurodiverse individuals, and it's been very, very helpful to keep me on task.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it takes what's already in my phone calendar, but then it makes it like a start period and a stop period, and it gives me another notification that this thing is beginning, this thing is about to end. And then you can also program in your routines, like you should wake up at this time, and then it'll just do it every day, or brush your teeth, or take a shower, like whatever you need reminders for, like it will do that. And so I put in like when to leave to take my to go pick up carpool, and to go take for soccer practice, but to pick up for soccer practice, so that it's just one thing that I don't have to think about, and it's just all automatic. And it's a very easy to use app. I don't know, they've just been there was a lot of research done around how they built the app, and they used it with I think brain injury survivors and ADHD patients and things like that. And so anyway, I pay for the app, but it's been amazing. So
I love that you pay for it, and I also find it funny that my Alexa goes off like every 5 minutes to give me similar reminders. My one says, it's 4:00, it's time for piano lessons. No, really, it's time for piano lessons.
Not 5 minutes from now.
Yeah. It can't be my voice. It has to be someone else.
I did some literacy reading this summer too.
Yeah, tell me about it.
I learned about it from like Structured Literacy, Science of Reading Twitter, that they were doing a Zoom book club this summer on the book by Marilyn Yeager Adams called Beginning to Read, Thinking and Learning About Print. It's a heavy tome. And the group was, they were deep. I mean, it was like all university researchers and TAs and, doctoral students and things and a couple teachers and me.
You held your own. I bet you did.
I did. I finally started talking at about like the 4th or 5th Zoom, but I was pretty intimidated before, especially because Holly Lane from University of Florida even was in that group.
Really?
Yes.
Yay!
I just soaked in everything that she shared. So that book was really heavy, but it was also really good because it just went. I mean, it was written in the 80s, but it's all the stuff that we're talking about now.
And
that students
advocating for now.
Need phonemic awareness, and that things develop in a certain progression, and the 3-part processor and things like that. Anyway, it's a good book, but it's kind of a heavy read. So cool. I needed some lighter reading. So then after that, I'm halfway through Know Better, Do Better. Mm-hmm. But I kind of gave it a break when I started doing my traveling, so I need to pick it up. But I like that book, and it was a lot lighter read than the Beginning to Read book. And then just this month, I found out about 2 really cool Zooms from the Science of Reading Facebook groups. And so I attended one with Lucy Hart Paulson, who created Letters. Yep. And it was about phonological awareness. And that was just so much fun. I mean, I could have listened to her for hours because we were just playing games and doing sound things and blending and segmenting and all this stuff. But she said something that was so beautiful in the middle of that training. And, I always work with English language learners my whole career. And so she called the home language the language you're loved in. Oh. And
say it again.
That your home language is the language that you are loved in, and that the language that you learn and experience love.
That is so beautiful. It's making me tear up.
And so we need to keep that in mind with students, and that when we're asking them to play with a language, that's the language you're loved in is when the first language that you really play with sounds, when you're doing the rhyming games and alliteration and things like that.
I'm with a family story because something happened tonight that I could see being something that's usable everywhere. So my daughter is in 1st grade, and she said, "Mom, I have a great idea. Let's play a game." And I thought it was going to be a board game, so I was kind of like, okay, let's get out of the bath first. She said, "No, how about if I make a nonsense word and you find the word that rhymes in the bathroom?" And so the first word she said was bizzers, and it was for scissors. And then she said fope, and the answer is soap. And I feel like that is such a great game that a child could learn at school and then learn to play at home in their home language.
I love that. And it was a bonding experience for you and your daughter.
Absolutely. I really loved to. I don't know if her teacher recommended it or not, but I loved that she came up with it on her own, and it was something that she wanted to start. And she was the one creating the nonsense words, which was really special too.
Tell me you're the daughter of a reading teacher without telling me you're the daughter of a reading teacher.
Guilty.
That you make up games about nonsense words. That's really cute. I love that.
I love that. The language you were loved in. Oh.
And then I attended another Zoom. This one was with the Reading League from Michigan. And it was Nancy Young, the creator of the Reading Ladder, which I learned about from you.
Yes, Nancy Young. She's fantastic. And if you need to look up the Reading Ladder, it's on a number of our previous episodes.
Yes. And her website is nancyyoung.ca. So, because she's in Canada. But I really, this one was interesting because it was about differentiation. And she called it the key to serving all students climbing the ladder of reading. And she said that she created, the training and the workshop and felt the need to talk about differentiation because she's noticed that so much whole class instruction has been happening as the science of reading is being embraced, and that worries her a little bit for the students who are in the dark green and the lighter green.
In the top tier of the ladder, who don't necessarily need that direct instruction, but are starting to understand reading in more of a less direct instruction way. And it doesn't harm them, but...
she even got into specific with the... We might need to pull up the letter, but she said something like... beneficial for all or something, helpful for some. It was the words that she used, and she was actually worried that she might have used the wrong language because that was implying that everybody needed this huge dose of structured literacy, when some of the more advanced readers, she actually said might benefit more from an inquiry-based approach, especially with morphology and language concepts.
Well, I'll tell you.
Okay, it was advantaged by a structured literacy approach in that green color.
Yes.
And she was worried about that her words advantaged by were maybe too strong or misconstrued a little bit.
Yeah, so the dark green is at the very top of the ladder, and that reads 5% of children learning to read seems effortless. And then 35% is the light green, and learning to read is relatively easy with broad instruction. And so, so those children, and I wouldn't even say that the 35% are at a disadvantage, or I would say it's that top 5 green percent of the students in your class where learning to read seems effortless. And I think that God has blessed me in such funny ways sometimes, because I happen to have a daughter who reads, where learning to read has been effortless for her, and she picks up on reading patterns quite easily, and her learning of language at an early age was really quick. And it's really interesting for me because I'm used to working with the 10 to 15% who have dyslexia at the bottom rung of the ladder. I'm used to making things very, very explicit, and she doesn't need that, but I'm finding how I need to stretch her learning and stretch her spelling, because while she can, make rhymes and find patterns, she can do it at a faster and maybe more broad way, using a number of different patterns.
I see.
So she could learn maybe, AI, A magic E for the long A sound, and AY all at the same time, and then classify those words in different ways, and maybe even come up with rules for why those words are spelled those ways. Where you may have some learners
which would be more constructivist approach.
Correct.
Yeah.
And then you may have, I would say, like the majority of your class, appropriate instruction once you've taught the AI, AY pattern. AY ends at the end of a syllable or a one-syllable word. It ends with AY if it's a long A at the end of that syllable or word. AI if it's followed by a consonant. would be in the center of a word, the beginning of a word, but it would never be the last long A in a word or syllable. So students could classify those words. For example, rain, A-I-N, ray, R-A-Y, and then you can classify creating rules that way. It may need to be more explicit for the middle road of the class, and then at the very bottom, you would probably need to work with those kids for a much longer sustained amount of time, just talking about where are the vowels in the word, where is the consonant in the word, and reiterating exactly the pattern of rain, finding just the words that would rhyme with it and reiterating rain, main.
So you wouldn't even do AI and AY at the same time with that red part of the reading ladder group of students.
That's exactly what I'm saying. You would eventually get there, but you would have to spiral and continue to spiral and relearn those rules again and again.
I think what Nancy, and I might be summarizing her incorrectly, but I think what she was getting at was that students need different doses of structured literacy. Correct. And it seems that everybody's getting the same dose, which is a lot right now. It's like the pendulum is swung like so much that way. Which we've been advocating for. But I was challenged by her presentation and thinking about, wow, we don't want to leave behind, the more advanced readers, and then really pay attention if they are getting the concepts, we need to push them further and, push them further with the morphology and things like that. So,
well, I think back to my point at the very beginning, if you can help students categorize and find rules for words that they have some ownership in, their spelling is going to be a lot more consistent because they understand and then can, apply the rule that they have then created.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And she said that you could still have a structured approach, but have a differentiated process, and it could be systematic, explicit, and cumulative, but it could be needs based, and that you might not do the same process to master content for all the students.
Oh, well, how about my example, just leave?
Exactly.
We did not discuss this prior to
This is what happens in the Reading Teachers Lounge.
This is why we love just chatting about stuff. Well, great.
So, what else are we going to be talking about this season?
I can't wait. Just let them have it. Tell us what's
up. Well, we are going to be having a definite science of reading focus because it's trending. It is,
It's a hot topic, and it's a really important topic.
Yes, and I find even I don't know a lot about it. I've come to some of these best practices just through my own experimentation with my students, which isn't the most efficient way to go about it because I didn't learn all of these things in college. And so I want to beef up my own knowledge about some of these topics like Scarborough's reading rope and the simple view of reading and, the three-part processing model and things like that.
Great. Yeah.
So three-part processing process. We have a bunch of dream guests lined up. I'm not even going to name names yet, but
stay tuned.
We've got some amazing guests lined up. This season is going to be our biggest season yet, and we are so excited to have people joining us in the Reading Teachers Lounge. So it's going to be me and Mary.
No, we have some really very intelligent people who are going to give us the most wonderful information that we can possibly share with you in this light professional development atmosphere.
And we've been brainstorming just different science of reading topics and subjects and kind of little pieces of it, and trying to find the best expert that we can within our realm of connection.
Yeah, absolutely.
that we can reach. And bring them into the lounge. So we're very excited about that. And then we're also, I think, equally excited about starting our Patreon because we want to, it's always been a dream of ours to have the Reading Teachers Lounge be more collaborative with all of you.
Absolutely.
And so
it's hard to be the Reading Teachers Lounge with just two of us.
Yeah. And so we want to make it more of a virtual professional learning community. Mm-hmm. And the Patreon platform is going to allow us to do that.
Yes. So stay tuned for more information.
Yeah, we're going to have extra episodes on that. We're going to have a private Facebook group through that platform.
Depending on your level, we might even be able to reach out and assist you with some of your questions and your challenging students, and with some strategies that may be useful and helpful. So
we have some virtual book studies planned, some quarterly collaborative planning and data review sessions planned. So if you are interested in looking at that for just like a hint of what's coming, you can go to www.patreon.com. That's Patreon with an E. I think if you go to without the E, it's like Patron. It's probably the vodka. Okay.
You probably would like that too.
Okay.
I think
Patreon.com/Reading Teachers Lounge. And anybody who joins in the month of September is going to be a founding member, and they're going to get some special gifts.
Yes, the special gifts are going to be headed your way ASAP. So make sure you check it out. Let us know if you are interested in joining, because we would love to make some strong connections with you.
We also want to keep chatting with you also through the Clubhouse platform. And so we are going to have a Clubhouse chat on Friday, September 10th at 6 p.m. Eastern. Hopefully that means most time zones could join us, either after school, or you might just be finishing school if you're on the West Coast. And we will be sending out, if you want to find us on Clubhouse, we're Reading Teachers Lounge, and we have a virtual club there.
Wait, Shannon, what's Clubhouse? Because some people might not know.
Okay, true. I forget. I'm on Clubhouse so much. Okay. Clubhouse it's a social media platform, so it's sort of like Facebook or, Instagram or something, but it's audio only. So it's like having a spontaneous podcast chat, group chat all at once.
Like actually joining the reading.
Yeah, so you can listen. And you can just stay in the audience, or you can raise your hand and join the stage and actually be part of the discussion. And usually when we host chats, it's pretty, we invite everybody to the stage because we want everybody to talk. And so it's really fun. It's like Zoom, but I don't have the Zoom fatigue because you're not looking at the faces, and so you can just be dressed however you want because it's just audio.
Right.
And if I'm in the mood to just listen, I'll just listen. And then other times, if I want to talk to people, I've made good friendships through Clubhouse. I've gotten to know some teachers, honestly, from around the world through that platform. So it's pretty cool. And that's a way for us to be able to join a chat room all at the same time and actually be in the Reading Teachers Lounge. And then even if we're not present, if you listeners want to form your own chat to talk about, hey, I just gave the Words Their Way spelling inventory. What do I do now? You could host a chat about that, or you could host a chat about Accelerated Reader, or you could host a chat about, the Journeys reading program, or whatever you need to talk about.
It's a pretty informal, but also highly educational platform.
And I think it formed out of the pandemic because people were isolated, and so this was a way for us to all be connected in a safe, socially distant way.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. So September 10th will be that first chat that we'll do, and we will talk about that. If you follow us on Facebook or Instagram, we'll post about it, but also you can find us on Clubhouse just in general. And then if you follow us there, you'll get notifications about the chat coming.
Well, speaking of, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Reading Teachers Lounge.
Or Facebook.
And you can also check out our webpage, www.readingteacherslounge.com.
And you can email us.
And you can email us at readingteacherslounge@gmail.com.
Yep. And thank you so much for sticking with us. Usually our openers are pretty short, but this one's kind of long.
Yeah, well,
we got to talk about, and we started talking about books and things we're excited about.
Well, I hope you all check out those books too. We'll put some links on
our show notes
and in the webpage, so you can check those out.
And thank you to
Jordan Kempker, who is the man behind the music, and also to Allison Zane from Fruit Creative, who did our original logo. Very cool. And
shout out to Joel Betts, my husband, who has edited all of our episodes since the beginning.
He has done all the legwork from the beginning. If you join Patreon, Joel might not have to do as much work. No, we're really grateful. Thank you, Joel, for all the work that you do.
All right. See you next time.
Next time.